Today, my friends, I might just make your golfing dreams come true. Let me show you how. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are on the Broom, part 3. I've talked to you about backswing. I've talked to you about follow through. Today I'm talking a little bit more about impact. This Broom drill, or the Broom video series, has been incredibly popular. If you are new to the channel, I want to say a big warm welcome and a big thank you for being here. Today, as I say, we're talking about impact. Now, a lot of people have loved this Broom drill video, or the first one. Do check that out, part 1 and part 2. I'd really recommend you watching those after you've seen this one. So why am I using the Broom? Well, first of all, it really highlights where the face is pointing, doesn't it? And you saw that in part 1 and part 2. The Broom pointing at the target, at your ball to target line, allows you to see the face more clearly in space than ever before. At impact, we have 2 overwhelming ingredients that people are always battling. But one of them, the path, is the ingredient that people battle that don't need to. They need to be more aware of their club face alignment. I must spend all my life, a lot of it when I'm standing on the mat, asking people what influences the ball flight more, the face orientation or the path orientation. And most people are always talking about the path. The path is a symptom of where the face is pointing at strike. So always understand that the face is king. The second ingredient that people are fighting is angle of attack. Everybody wants to feel compression on the golf ball. It's, again, something that I always hear when I'm talking to people when they're standing on the mat. I want to feel a bit more compression. I want to take a divot. And because of the amount of time that golfers have spent swinging inside out, and you can see when I swing the golf club inside out, and I get my arm tucked, and I get my handle moving out, you can see that the club face is now pointing at my TV screens out in front of me. Because of that, the golf club then has to swing to square the face up. So I keep the handle in the same spot, I work from the inside, and then the handle must stop for the club head to swing, and when the club is swinging, it means that the angle of attack is being lost. Therefore, we need to understand that to get angle of attack to line the face up will give us the very best opportunity to line the path up. The path will always react to the bend in the sky. We get the face right, we'll always start to have a much better opportunity of getting the path right. Never, ever, 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 ever work on your club path. And if you work on it, leave the building, switch off. Do not watch any more of my videos because they are not for you, because club path is not worth a toss, people. Do not change it. Hopefully I've made my point clear. So therefore, when we've all been around the globe, people that are trying to work on path, we have fictitiously delivered inside-out paths and poor angles of attack. So what do I mean by that? When the club, and I'm going to pop a ball there at the end of the Broom, when a golfer is moving from the inside and the handle is rising up, the club head is trying to bottom out back here. Handle going inside out, the club head is bottoming out back here. And the reason why I stress about this more than any other direction is because if you've sliced the golf ball, someone's asked you to swing more from the inside. If you've hooked the golf ball, you felt like you wanted to swing the club more from the inside. So on both sides of the coin, inside out, whether you're a hooker of the golf ball or a slicer of the golf ball, the message has been the same. And it used to be, back in the day, oh, you can't talk to a hook. You can talk to a slice, you can't talk to a hook, because a hook has got no spin on it and bending left. Well, absolute rubbish. A hook gives us power, gives us ball speed, gives us energy. When someone's got energy and ball speed, they become way more syrupy, softer, easier to move, easier to manipulate because they've got power. Someone that's standing there whipping a slice, swinging it as hard as they can when they've got no energy, they're harder to change initially. So you need to make sure you change the right things to make them feel ball speed, and then you can start to change other areas. That's a message out there for you golf coaches. So when we've been historically working from the inside, I want you to understand that when it's working from the inside, the club is trying to bottom out back here. And what's also happened is the handle has closed the gap off between the golf ball and where it started. Now that is not to say that the golfer can then still point the broom back at the target. But what I now want you to appreciate is the angle the broom head is at. When the broom head is parallel to the floor, we are delivering the same loft as it was at address, statically. The more I keep the broom looking at the target, and then I move the broom handle more towards the target, I'm creating shaft lean, and I'm taking the loft off the golf club, aren't I? I bring the broom back, I line the broom head up back to the floor, I line the handle back up with the head, I now have the static loft on the golf club. So when a golfer swings from the inside and they go, oh, I've had lots of success from swinging on the inside. I don't take a divot, but I swing from the inside okay, and I've worked on that. How's your ball flight? It's a bit low. Oh, is it? Oh, interesting, okay. So I swing from the inside and the face is pointing off to the right, and the golf club comes back in like so. The handle's pushed off to the right, it's moved from where it was out to the right. Because the face is pointing in that direction, if they've got a strong grip, they now have the ability to line the face up. But now look at the dynamic loft. Dynamic loft is absolutely gone, isn't it? So understand, therefore, that through strike, if the handle pushes out to the right, it sacrifices the direction the face points, and then it sacrifices the dynamic loft on the golf club, which is why you end up with incredibly low shots, even if you did get yourself in a position where you could hit the golf ball straight from an inside-out travel. We've got to understand that where the handle track is down at the bottom, the more the handle track returns itself back to where it started, and look at the direction that club handle is traveling in. It's traveling back at me and not away from me. Means that at this point in the downswing, the handle being over there is an absolute. Because if I've been a golfer that's tried to make the handle inside to get his path from the inside, because this handle is closer to me here than it is over here, that is the direction of energy the handle's traveling in. And so even if I kept my back to the target and moved my handle down, which absolutely steepens the shaft on the way down and does not shallow you out in the slightest, which is a whole new conversation. Move the handle down here and I push the handle out. It's impossible for me to ever start to keep the handle back underneath my body. So in transitioning in the start of the downswing, the handle's job is to feel like it stays high and moves forwards. If it stays high and moves forwards, and I was to move the handle out to the golf ball, so I'm going to put the handle out to the golf ball, and I've done it by pulling on the golf club, which every video well, again, I don't watch much, but I hear comments on my channel. You're the only person on YouTube. In fact, this morning I woke up, get all of the emails popped through on my phone. That's why I always reply. You're the only person on YouTube that talks about pulling on the golf club, Stuart, which is really quite scary, isn't it? If you went into the gym and you got a cable and someone said to move the cable, what, would you leave it up there and just turn out the way, would you, and just leave it up there? You wouldn't pull it. Why would you not pull it? It's got weight on it. You've got your arms, you've got your shoulders to load. So this fallacy that we don't pull on the golf club is absolute garbage. So we pull the handle forwards. So even if I pulled the hand forwards so much that the handle lined up onto the ball to target line, is the club head on the ball to target line? It's not, is it? So I've pulled the handle from the top forwards. The club head is still behind the ball to target line. I now make the handle work down and across. Is the club head still inside the ball to target line? Yes, it is, people. As I now move the handle around, has the club face lined itself back up with the ball to target line? Yes, it has. Is my lower half and is my body, my chest, open to the target? Yes, it is. But what I've also got here is an incredible amount of shaft lean, because I've pulled on the handle, I've lowered the handle because force and gravity is pulling it down that way, and I'm going to help it out as well. I'm going to put force on the handle, and because I keep pulling the handle, and the weight of the broom keeps the head back, you can now see that the broom head itself is now inverted, is now pointing to the floor. So the club's got no dynamic loft on it. It's going to be really low. But also, the direction of the head, again, is still going to point the face either to the right or to the left. So when you start pulling the club handle out here, the more you pull it out here, the better chance you have of now lining it up down at the bottom of the golf ball. Now that's just the pull element of the downswing. That's just the pull element. Now we've got the pressure, but now we've got one more ingredient to talk about, and that's the swinging element. And I did a video. One of my first videos on my channel was angle of attack. And I talked about how the tee height does not affect whether you hit up on the ball or down on the ball. And it still counts. It's still absolute garbage. If you want to hit up on the ball, tee it high and hit up on it. Absolute nonsense. Because I can create shaft lean and hit up on it. I can create no shaft lean and hit up on it. So at angle of attack and tee height, it might encourage you to do something, but it is not the absolute. What actually creates angle of attack is how much you start to allow the club head to swing past you. So down at the bottom, when the handle stops and the club head swings and transitions, and the head and the handle start to line themselves back up, can you see that the broom head is now back to straight and is at ground zero? The dynamic loft on the golf club is now back to where it started, because the broom head is parallel to the floor. It's not inverted. So when we pull on the golf club and we move the handle forwards, and because I've pulled it and there's weight in the broom, can you see how the broom head is loading? The lag, if you like, is occurring when I pull because of the broom weight. Now as I start to push the handle down, it's at this point I then start to feel how the handle will start to stall out and the club head will swing. So the club head swinging as the handle is falling, the club head is swinging, it's all lining up. Where is the over the top? There is no over the top because the handle is coming back to me, the club head is swinging out. Look, my handle is swinging to the left, the club head is swinging out to the right if I let it. But I'm not going to because I'm going to take it around with me. Now, the more I keep pulling on the handle, can you see if I keep pulling on the handle and I never let it swing, look where the face points, miles to the right, which is a big problem. So you could have some pull, have some pressure on the shaft, but you could still come back with a very open face. But if you move it forwards and you start to feel the weight of the head starting to load your wrist angles, which starts to change the way your arms work, it starts to flex the right arm. And if you haven't seen it, don't you go tucking your right arm in now. And for all the people out there that said I was saying that Danny Mould and Pete Cowan were saying to tuck the right arm, I just said they were referencing the right arm. That's all I was saying. So the right arm is tucked because the club is loading. So as it loads, because I pull it and I don't just leave it behind, because my right arm then gets all outside and high, because I pull on it, now I can allow the pressure to work down, but now I have to allow the head to swing. The head has to swing, not just be driven. And it's the orientation of the handle being low and the club head being higher that gets the angle of attack steeper and allows you to hit down and still unload the head to line it all back up. Compared to the guy, well, Stuart, if I let it swing, I'm going to fat it. Well, you, my friend, is because you are the guy that's swinging from the inside, that if you let it swing, you drive the club into the ground back here. So the broom drill, in its entirety, allows us to feel, in part one, understanding how the handle track starts to point the face, how the handle track moving left keeps the body moving and lines it up. In the backswing, how the weight and pressure of the broom really starts to allow us to feel the load in the shoulders early on, how it really starts to change the way the club transitions. But now in part three, the final frontier, the handle moving forwards, the pressure on the handle working down. But as the pressure of the handle's working down, look how the club is swinging and lining up. And now all of a sudden, it's starting to look wholesome. Let me go and hit a couple. Gosh, this golf club feels light after doing a few of those. So, there's the handle pressure, or the pull. That's getting the load. There's the handle pressure and the swing of the head. There's the swing of the head down at the bottom. Handle pressure. Look how it's turning the loft down. Look how I can now swing. So I can now get down strike, or feel like the club head is over here, and at the bottom it all starts to line back up. So it starts to look forwards, down. Now the club swings, and it feels like all the time this handle is dropping down and the loft is looking down. All of a sudden it's all lining up. Forwards, down, it's now lining up. The minute I start to really feel under, impossible. Forwards, pressure down, starts to line the face back up. So it's a very weight-orientated sensation. Soon as you up the weight in this golf club, you will start to feel something at the other end. And you'll start to feel a bigger differential between the handle weight and the head weight when we start to move this golf club in transition. Go up, in transition, pressure and force down. That allows me to line everything back up. My friends, I think you'll agree that's good coaching. If you've enjoyed this video, do hit the like button, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.